There's a big mistake that a lot of companies that are new to A/B testing make, which is to implement a testing tool and start testing right away without first validating that the data they're collecting is clean to make data-informed decisions. Welcome to a new CXL Feed. I'm Carlos Trujillo. Over the last few years, I have helped dozens of e-commerce companies make better business decisions through systematic experimentation. And in this lesson, I'll show you how to set up and audit your goal tracking to ensure trustworthy test results. You'll learn how to do this by assessing your current goal tracking approach, determining if an API-based approach would be beneficial for your business, and by running an AA test to validate your setup and identify potential issues. It's impossible to make data-informed decisions if you can trust your data in the first place. At this point, I need you to ask yourself, what are you actually measuring? Historically, most testing tools have relied on client-side events as the default method for goal tracking. This essentially means triggering transaction goals upon the user visiting an order confirmation page or tracking micro-conversions such as the addition of a product to the cart once they click on a specific button. Actually, if you go check the documentation of most of the well-known tools, in most cases you will find comprehensive and potentially intimidating instructions on how to set up these goals. However, there are some potential limitations of using this approach to goal tracking that you should be aware of. First and foremost, not all customers visit an order confirmation page. This is especially relevant for those businesses or markets where a lot of customers would check out with a third-party payment gateway such as PayPal and might not return to visit the order confirmation page. One other potential limitation is that purchases may not always be processed in real time. There might be cases where audit fraud filters or other circumstances might delay the process of an order being approved, and hence this would affect your test results if you're using this tracking method. And a third potential limitation is that modern user journeys are highly variable and unpredictable these days. Let me give you an example. A lot of companies would track additions to cart by the number of people clicking on an add to cart button on a product page. However, there are many other places where a product could be added to the cart. For example, the homepage, collection pages, or even the related products displayed on a different product page. When these kind of very specific actions or triggers goals, there's a big chance we're not getting the full picture if you're just focusing on a single element. There's nothing inherently wrong with tracking goals with client-side events. That might be good enough for a lot of companies, maybe including yours, but what's important is that you are aware of the nuances. At this point, I want you to stop and assess what's your current goal tracking approach. Do you know how are you measuring such goals? Do you know how these goals are being triggered? This is the first step in order to define what you should do next and if you need a more advanced step. Of course, there's a big chance you need to speak with your more technical folks, but they will know how this is working at the moment. If you feel like you're not getting the full picture if you only track client-side goals, maybe it's time for you to consider switching to an API-based implementation. In a nutshell, what this means is that the instruction to trigger your conversion goals will come straight from your e-commerce platform, radically reducing the likelihood of missing transactions or conversion events. There's a big mistake that a lot of companies that are new to A/B testing make. One potential issue with these metrics is they don't show you the full picture on their own. Let me show you why with an example. In this lesson, you'll learn how to measure the impact that your experiments have by tracking data across multiple platforms. It's very common for CRO teams to focus only on the surface level layer of an e-commerce business, without stopping to ask what are the actual financial implications of those improvements. Influencing business decision making is not an easy task. I hope this sparkled some ideas on your end so that you have a better reporting system for your CRO initiatives. The CRO for e-commerce growth was one of the top 5 most taken courses at CXL last year. We heard your feedback and now we're updating it with extra 15 minutes of content with over-the-shoulder examples of how to put some of the learnings into action. Go check out the update now at cxl.com.